Guys, I have a question to ask you. If you should make a choice between Trump and Xi Jinping, who you prefer? Just when everyone was still glued to the drama between Trump, Powell, Modi, Putin, and Zelensky, China suddenly dropped a bombshell. Absolutely, they are the SCO and the September 3rd military parade. Don't underestimate this Eastern power move. It's different from before. Putin showed up with an impressive squad of over 10 people. Modi visited China for the first time in 7 years, and Kim Jong-un broke a 66-year tradition just for this. So what's really going on? It means Trump is slowly losing his shine. He's no longer the no one choice. In other words, these major powers are trying to find a new path in the East. Global media are all capturing this epic triple summit. But almost no one noticed the 4 huge opportunities hidden behind it that could fatten your wallet. China and Russia are ditching the dollar in 95% of their trade. Iran's $400 billion deal is back on the table. Trump's loosening up rules for Chinese students. And tariffs on 178 types of Chinese products got extended till late November. Hey everyone, I'm Luna here to break down macro trends into real numbers for your bank account. Today, we're skipping the politics and getting straight to the juice. Profit signals. Let's dive into how you can benefit from these major shifts. Whether it's energy gains, smarter asset moves, or even new opportunities for studying abroad and exporting goods. The answers are all in today's video. Okay, first up, let's talk about the most explosive power move, the China-Russia combo. Putin didn't just show up for a casual visit. He brought a heavyweight delegation, 3 deputy prime ministers and over 10 ministers, 13 top officials in total. Why such a big move? Well, China is already Russia's biggest trading partner in 2024. Over 95% of their trade was settled in rubles and yuan, almost completely bypassing the US dollar. This isn't just some friendly help. Remember, we've talked about how the US has been playing the long game in the Ukraine conflict and even slapped sanctions on India for buying Russian oil. The U.S. has been trying to weaken Russia for nearly 3 years, aiming to kick it out of the dollar system. But China stepped up. We're buying massive amounts of Russian oil, natural gas, and grain. And Russia can exchange the yuan it gets from us into other currencies through Chinese banks. Let's be real, who else in the world can take that much ruble besides China? And Russia isn't coming empty-handed either. This time, they're openly challenging the US, offering to supply engines for China's C919 if needed. Why does that matter? Because China's C919 and C929 have been stuck with engine bottlenecks, slowing down production. If Russia's tech can help crack that problem, it's a total game changer for China's civil aviation supply chain, and the companies involved are going to benefit big time. Now, do you remember when Modi got hit with Trump's 50% tariffs? India started buying more Russian oil right after. Rumor has it, Modi even asked Putin for a discount during their meeting. Okay, even India is cashing in on Russia. So, how can regular investors get in on this? Easy. With China-Russia trade booming, logistics companies handling that route are going to be swamped, and if the C919 engine tech comes through, the whole supply chain, parts, manufacturers, assemblers, you name it, will get a policy-backed boost. These aren't just hype stocks, they've got real business behind them. Next, let's talk about Iran. This ancient Middle Eastern kingdom showed up with some serious leverage. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian made his first visit to China since taking office. He was in Tianjin for the SCO summit on August 31st, then rushed to Beijing for the September 3rd military parade. Now, you might have forgotten, but back in 2021, China and Iran signed a 25-year comprehensive cooperation deal. What's in it? Basically, China pledged $400 billion in investments covering energy, infrastructure, and telecom, while Iran agreed to supply China with discounted oil long-term. This $400 billion, 25-year China-Iran comprehensive cooperation plan was supposed to be a game-changer for the Middle East. Sounds huge, right? So why does nobody remember it? Well, progress has been super slow. In the past 4 years, less than 5% of the plan has actually moved forward. China kept buying Iranian oil, but big infrastructure projects stalled. It wasn't until 2023 that China finally landed a contract to build Iran's biggest airport, worth around $2 billion. Why the delay? Even though this deal was meant to sync up China's Belt and Road with Iran's look east strategy, a win-win, it kept hitting roadblocks. It turns out that Iran always has one eye on the West. Whenever relations with the West improve, they put cooperation with the East on hold. Back in 2015, right after the Iran nuclear deal was signed, Iran sidelined its oil cooperation with China and froze 90% of its projects with us. But then, in 2018, the U.S. pulled out of the nuclear deal and slammed Iran with maximum pressure sanctions again. Iran's economy has taken a serious hit. And that's why Iran is once again talking about looking east. The same thing happened after the China-Russia Comprehensive Cooperation Plan was signed. Iran kept wavering. Just last year, Iran tore up a drone procurement deal with China and switched to buying Russian Su-35 fighter jets. President Pezeshkian even criticized China for insufficient investment, while secretly accepting a $2 billion investment from India. He even promised to align with the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Now, under heavy pressure both domestically and internationally, Iran has no choice but to turn back to China, its so-called rival. On August 28, the UK, France, and Germany jointly sent a letter to the UN Security Council, triggering the snapback sanctions mechanism against Iran and the U.S. The U.S. is insisting that Iran abandon all nuclear activities, a direct red line for Iran. Things aren't any better inside Iran. USSANCTIONs have triggered a new wave of social crises. Currency collapse and hyperinflation have caused real wages to plummet, pushing large numbers of the middle class into poverty. Check out this data from the Iranian Parliament Research Center. About 35% of Iranians now live below the poverty line, and nearly 28 million people don't get enough nutrition. What does that mean? It means Iran's poverty rate is as bad as it was right before the revolution. A hopeless situation with living standards and social development indicators worsening across the board. Along with economic struggles, Iran is also facing social unrest and a brain drain. Official data shows youth unemployment ages 15 to 24 is as high as 20.1%. And over 100,000 skilled and highly educated people leave Iran every year. With people struggling in infrastructure in desperate need of upgrades, Iran has no choice but to come back to China. On August 31st, Khomeini made a point of posting on social media in both Persian and Chinese, praising traditional Chinese medicine. He especially emphasized the need to fully implement all aspects of the Strategic Cooperation Agreement with China, saying Iran wants to work with China to reshape the global landscape. You don't need me to read between the lines. The sincerity is clear. So what's in it for us? What real opportunities does the China-Yan Comprehensive Cooperation Plan bring? Two big ones. First, Iran is offering discounted oil prices, which would significantly lower costs for Chinese refineries and the fuel vehicle industry. Second, companies helping Iran with infrastructure projects will get steady orders. Both are major positives for related investments. But a word of caution, Iran has a flip-flop syndrome. They've ghosted China more than once. So focus on companies that already have signed contracts and real business. Avoid those just riding the hype. Now, here's an interesting detail. Before heading to Modi and Zelensky, two partners in misery, had a phone call. We all know Zelensky hasn't had a great year. First, he got a reality check from Trump. Then in May, he was forced to sign a mineral agreement with the U.S. After that, he got blindsided by Trump's meeting with Putin. Just last week, Kyivy was hit by Russian drone strikes. As for Modi, he just had an unsuccessful meeting with Trump and got hit with 50% tariffs. So these two had a lot to complain about. Zelensky has given up on reclaiming territory by force and is now pinning his hopes on diplomatic negotiations. He wants leaders attending the Tianjin summit to use the opportunity to pressure Putin. Modi agreed and promised to keep pushing the issue. But let's be real, is that gonna happen? Probably not. At the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit, there's just less motive and leverage to pressure Putin. Sure enough, Modi said all the right things but showed up and did nothing. We've talked before about Trump's tariffs on India. Modi's moves are always interesting. Why did Zelensky call Modi, of all people? Because Modi was the most likely to entertain this wild request. Modi has always tried to play both sides. Since the 1950s, India's non-alignment strategy hasn't changed even after 2001-81, when the US pulled India into the Indo-Pacific strategy. On the surface, Modi and Zelensky are in the same boat because of US trade wars. But Modi is still trying to balance both sides, the US on the right and the East on the left. Interestingly, even though Modi made a high-profile visit to China, unlike other foreign leaders, he only attended the SCO summit and skipped the September 3rd military parade. China's parades are pretty impressive. A shame he missed it. But when you think about it, it makes sense. We all know what Modi's game is. He's hedging his bets, trying to gain wherever he can. When things go south with the US, he looks to China for a way out and gets closer to BRICS and the SCO members to counter American dominance. So what opportunities does this wavering Modi bring to us? Well, it probably depends on whether India and Russia can push cooperation forward and whether de-dollarization actually gains traction. But here's what's really interesting, the subtle game happening between the USA and China. Back in May, Trump told Secretary of State Marco Rubio to crack down on Chinese students, saying the US would aggressively revoke visas, especially those linked to the Communist Party of China or studying in key fields. But then recently, Trump changed his tune, saying he's on good terms with Xi Jinping, and that completely blocking Chinese students from coming to the US would be a direct offense to Beijing. He even mentioned plans to open up 600,000 spots. You know what's behind this? American universities are running out of money. China is the biggest source of international students. Chinese students contribute $12 billion every year to U.S.colleges in the 2023 to 2024 school year alone. There were 277,000 Chinese students in the States. If they really shut Chinese students out, a lot of American universities would face serious financial trouble. It's not just about international students. Even on trade, Trump is backing down. Recently, he extended the tariff exemptions on 178 categories of Chinese products for another 90 days. These include chemical materials, electronic components, medical supplies, and solar manufacturing equipment. Under Section 301 of the U.S. Trade Act, these products were supposed to face tariffs ranging from 7.5% to 25%, but now they're exempt until the end of November. So why is this happening? Plain and simple, the U.S. can't keep inflation under control. If these tariffs weren't exempted, a lot of businesses straight up wouldn't be able to handle it. So what does this mean for us ordinary people? First, studying abroad might become more affordable, to attract more Chinese students. American universities could lower their entry requirements and maybe even offer more scholarships. Second, for businesses that rely on exports, especially in sectors like home appliances and light industries, which are included in the tariff exemptions, orders are likely to become more stable if you take a look at their financial reports. You'll probably see stronger performance backing them up. But don't get it twisted, it's not like Trump suddenly became friendly or actually values a good relationship with Xi Jinping. It's all because economic pressure is forcing his hand. The US-China game is still on without doubt. Just last weekend, China's Vice Minister of Commerce Li Chenggang was in the US for talks not only about the trade deal currently under discussion, but also tariffs and easing restrictions on tech sales to China. In addition, senior officials from both sides have been negotiating a possible summit between the two leaders in the coming months. Then, on the 25th, when Trump met with South Korean President Lee Myung-bak at the White House, he told reporters he's considering a visit to China. Trump said, "At some point, maybe this year or not long after, we will go to China. We're going to have a good relationship with China." So what does this tell us? It means the US-China rivalry isn't just about all-out confrontation anymore. It's fighting and talking at the same time. And for us regular people, that's where the real opportunities are. Look for those areas of compromise. Lower risk, steadier returns. All right, guys, let's break this down. You can really feel the weight of what's happening here. whether it's China and Russia, pushing cooperation between China and Iran, or the strategic game between China and the US. It all points to one major trend. The SCO is evolving from its original focus of countering the three forces into what I'd call a de-dollarization squad. This year's SCO summit brought together leaders from 26 countries. Iran, Russia, and India are all moving away from the dollar. And even Turkey's President Erdogan wrote in People's Daily about deepening cooperation with China. What's happening now with the SCO and the September 3rd military parade isn't just a series of meetings. It's a signal of strategic coordination in the Asia-Pacific region, and it's sending a message to the world. The global order isn't dictated by the US alone anymore. So now you must be wondering, as regular people, how can we actually benefit from all this? I've broken it down into 3 steps to help you think about structuring your assets. First, don't put all your money in dollar-denominated assets. Diversify a bit into RMB-denominated financial products. EHE can help hedge against exchange rate risks. Second, pay more attention to sectors tied to the SCO. For energy, watch China-Russia-Iran cooperation. For infrastructure, keep an eye on China-Iran projects. And for trade, focus on China-Russia logistics. Third, avoid chasing short-term hype. Look instead for companies with long-term agreements like those key players under the China-Iran $400 billion deal. These firms will have steady order flow, which supports their stock prices over time. Now, some of you might ask, are there risks? Absolutely. But risk and return go hand in hand. Think about Buffett. While everyone was worried about whether the Fed would cut rates, he went ahead and bought real estate because he saw the trend of falling interest rates. We might not have Buffett-level cash, but we can still follow major trends. De-dollarization between China and Russia is a long-term direction. China-yuan cooperation is backed by solid agreements. And there are clear areas of compromise between China and the US. These aren't short-term plays, they're trends that will last for years. All right, before we wrap up, I want to ask you some questions. Do you think de-dollarization will make the RMB stronger? And more importantly, would you dare to invest in energy assets? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's chat and learn together. In this financial storm, let's navigate wisely, protect our money, and avoid unnecessary detours. I'm Luna, here to help you turn macro trends into real numbers in your account. Don't forget to like and follow. Next time there's a wealth opportunity, you'll hear it from me first. Let's get you ahead of the curve and cashing in while everyone else is still catching up.